Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Anth. In 1802, 220 years ago, Thomas Jefferson, President of the United States, wrote a letter to the Danbury Baptist Association in which he stated that the Establishment Clause in the Bill of Rights created a, quote, wall of separation between the church and state, unquote. Recently, some politicians, such as Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, are trying to tear down that wall. This summer, teachers in Florida were introduced to the new state standards on teaching civics during a 3-day workshop. Many teachers were shocked to discover that the sessions were strongly infused with a Christian fundamentalist message. This was of particular concern in South Florida, where a significant portion of the population, approximately 31% according to Pew Research, is not Christian. Teachers were told that the founders did not want a strict separation of church and state. As noted in my introduction, that is the exact opposite of what founder Thomas Jefferson said in 1802. But let's hear more from the founders on this issue. George Washington, first president of the United States, had this to say in 1793 in a letter to the new church in Baltimore, quote, "We have abundant reason to rejoice that in this land the light of truth and reason has triumphed over the power of bigotry and superstition. In this enlightened age, and in the land of equal liberty, it is our boast that a man's religious tenets will not forfeit the protections of the laws, nor deprive him of the right of attaining and holding the highest offices that are known in the United States," unquote. President Washington was saying that your religion had nothing to do with the government. The government didn't care what your religion was. You would receive the same protections as anyone else. And you could be president no matter what your religion was. Religion was and is a separate sphere from the government. Now let's hear from John Adams, second president of the United States, who endorsed this statement from the Treaty of Tripoli in 1797. Quote, "As the government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslims, and as the said states ever had entered into any war or act of hostility against any Mohammedan Islamic nation, it is declared by the parties that no pretext arising from religious opinions shall ever produce an interruption of the harmony existing between the two countries," unquote. President Adams said quite explicitly that religion is separate from government in the United States, which is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Therefore, the United States government doesn't care if you are Muslim. Now, we move on to Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. He discussed the writing of the Constitution with James Madison, the primary author, while he, Jefferson, was the ambassador to France. Thomas Jefferson was also the third president of the United States. President Jefferson stated in 1813 in a letter to Alexander von Humboldt, a German naturalist and explorer, quote, "History, I believe, furnishes no example of a priest-ridden people maintaining a free civil government. This marks the lowest grade of ignorance of which their civil as well as religious leaders will always avail themselves for their own purposes," unquote. In his notes on the state of Virginia, published in 1784, Jefferson stated that, quote, "The legitimate powers of government extend to acts only as are injurious to others, but it does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Reason and free inquiry are the only effectual agents against error. They are the natural enemies of error and of error only." Unquote. Now we move on to James Madison. Madison was the primary author of the United States Constitution. He also wrote the Federalist Papers, and he was the fourth president of the United States. During the convention to write the Constitution, Madison stated at the debate, quote, "Who does not see that the same authority which can establish Christianity in exclusion of all other religions may establish with the same ease any particular sect of Christians in exclusion of all other sects," unquote. At that point in the debate on the Constitution, the delegates agreed to the Establishment Clause, which built a wall between religion and the government. It should be clear at this point that the founders of the United States, the men who wrote the Declaration of Independence, who wrote the Constitution, and who were the first four presidents, were quite determined that the United States would be a country where religion had no role in government. The U.S. Constitution is quite explicit about this in Article 6, Section 3. Quote, "No religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States," unquote. The only other mention of religion in the Constitution is in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, the Establishment Clause. Quote, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof," unquote. The U.S. Constitution establishes a wall between church and state. Anyone who says otherwise, including Ron DeSantis and the new civics program, is being dishonest and is ideologically driven in the pursuit of turning the U.S. into a Christian theocracy. Now, some of you are probably saying, but what about the "In God We Trust" on our money and "Under God in the Pledge of Allegiance"? Neither of these would have been approved or supported by the founders. In fact, both occurred during my childhood and were the result of anti-communist sentiment drummed up by Senator Joe McCarthy, who went on anti-communist witch hunts. The Act of July 11th, 1955 amended the last provision and provides that "In God We Trust" shall now appear on all United States currency and coins. This change first appeared on money in 1957. I feel sure that our founders are hurling angry epithets in the afterlife. The change to the Pledge of Allegiance was made in 1954. The pledge itself wasn't written until 1892 and was done in celebration of the 400th anniversary of Columbus finding the Americas. Again, the founders in the afterlife are probably not happy that we say it, especially with the words added in 1954. The founders said that Americans could be of any religion or no religion, but they were quite emphatic that religion was to have no role in the government of the United States. If you encounter anyone who says that the U.S. is a Christian nation, you may respond by saying that, yes, there are a lot of Christians in the United States. However, the government of the United States is not now, and never has been since its founding, a Christian government. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.